easy to find parking.
That's right, we understand, and we haven't even really started yet. We haven't started yet, but we're starting now. All right, my name is Kim Gaffett, and I'm the OVF naturalist for the Nature Conservancy, and this is one of our community science weekly programs that's sponsored by the Nature Conservancy and by the Black Island Conservancy. And we're being hosted by the Island Free Library, who is a great partner in all the work that we do. We collaborate on a lot of things. So, welcome. This is Kelly Beatty, who is a senior editor from Sky and Telescope magazine. I met him a year ago wandering around Black Island, talking about how great the night sky was, and spent the winter planning to get him back to talk to us about how great our dark sky is, and about some community science that's based on something called Globe at Night. We originally planned, and we still plan, to have a night sky viewing tonight, but I believe it's going to be canceled because of cloud cover. But we do have one tomorrow, and the forecast is luminous. So I'm encouraging all to set their sights for tomorrow night. Without further ado, Kelly Beatty.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
It's funny, Kim and I got together because I found out that there was a Nature Conservancy office here. But this is somebody I need to meet. So it was locked. There was nobody there. They were all out doing their, bird counts and such. And so I just fired off an email, and Kim answered while I was still here. And I said, well, let's get together and have some coffee, and we did. And it was a great conversation, and she did not forget. So here I am. And my background, I am not a lighting professional. I'm a lifelong amateur astronomer. I've always wanted to be an astronomer. I got a chance to do that. I went to Caltech. A year after I graduated, I landed a job at Sky and Telescope magazine in Cambridge. I could understand what astronomers said, and I turn around and I interpret it for everyday folks like us. And so this has been one of my passions, preserving the nighttime sky. As you can imagine, astronomers have a vested interest in that, but it is so much more than about what the astronomers want, as you'll see. Let's see. So that first picture was from Arches National Park. And I'll get back to that in just a second. Let's talk about what light pollution is. By the way, it's about 45 minutes long, in case you're curious, want to take a nap, whatever. Light pollution is basically illuminating the night with an artificial means. And it has several connotations. We talk about, and I will talk about, glare and light trespass, and especially in this environment, anything that disturbs the natural nighttime environment is a problem. And so the interesting thing is that, less so now than, say, 20 years ago, but a lot of light fixtures that were installed sent a lot of their light up into the sky. In Chelmsford, we had a housing development that had literally a spherical globe set of lights along their sidewalks, and so half of that light was going on the ground and half of it was going up into the sky. And that's just not good. This is a really good example. A lot of these antique or ornamental light fixtures that you see, especially in New England, but all over the country really, are chosen by somebody who wants to appreciate what they look like during the daytime. They don't give 2 seconds thought to how they might look at night. So here you can see the bulb in there, in this beautiful glass fixture, and at night this is what it looks like. It's sending light in all directions, up, down, whatever. But it's instructive because I can use this to sort of define for you the sort of general areas in the sky that we think about when we're trying to control lighting. The easiest is any light that goes above horizontal is going up into the sky. That is called uplight, real original name for that. That broad cone toward the bottom, the useful light that's actually falling on the task area, right? The area that you're trying to illuminate. And I want you to notice that down here at the bottom, which is arguably the most important part of the task area, it's dark because that fixture is shadowing the very area that it's supposed to be illuminating. And then there's this slice below horizontal that we call the glare zone. This is the zone where, as you're walking or driving at night and you see a street light or security light or something like that that's shining directly into your eyes, it might be below horizontal, but it's coming at you in a way that's actually being distracting, if not disabling. You've all had the experience of driving and somebody on a dark night, and somebody is coming toward you, and they have the newer style headlights that are intensely blue, very strong, and you're like, you wish you could block them somehow because you just can't see what's going on alongside the road. That's disabling glare, and that is a problem not just with car headlights, but with lots of things. Now you might think that the most damaging from the standpoint of light pollution are the photons that get emitted and go straight up. That's what you see when you look at like satellite pictures of the Earth at night. You see these pictures, and those are the photons that are going straight up, but they are not the problem. If you think about it, our atmosphere is pretty thin compared to the rest of the Earth, and as those beams go up, they leave the atmosphere pretty quickly, and then they're gone. They can't do any more damage. The worst, this is a computer simulation showing a beam of light at different angles from straight up, and how the colors represent how much scattered light there is in the atmosphere. And the bottom one is the worst case. It's a light fixture that is sending its light just above horizontal, because that light is skimming through the atmosphere for tens, if not hundreds of miles. We live about 25 miles outside of Boston, and on my very best, clearest nights, when I'm looking straight up, I have light pollution in the sky. And some of that light pollution is coming from Boston, 25 miles away. I know it is. So, all right, so that, I'm going to talk about 5 reasons that light pollution is bad. Let's get the astronomy part out of the way first, all right? I'm the astronomer in the room, all right? But we'll talk about these other things too. Visual impairment. Oh, wait, what happened to my astronomy part? Well, maybe that's just out of place. Visual impairment is the light trespass that I was talking about. And, you know, so here's the thing. Here's your physiology lesson for the day. Your eyes during the day use a sensor called a cone. Actually, there's 3 kinds of cones for red, green, and blue light. They are relatively insensitive to light, so you need a lot of light to make the cones fire, and that's what gives us our color vision. So this, let me see if I can get my fancy pants thing. This line is the cone sensitivity, and you notice that it peaks in the yellow part of the spectrum. At night, the cones can't work. They are not sensitive enough to pick up faint light, and so the eyes turn that job over to what are called rods. The rods are 1,000 times more sensitive to light. That scale on the left-hand side, that's a log scale. They're 1,000 times more sensitive to light. 2 things about the rods. First, it's a black and white system. So that's why when you stumble out of the party that you went to, and you're trying to find your red car in the parking lot, and they all look gray to you, it's because your rods are doing the looking for you. The second thing I want you to notice where it's the sensitivity peaks. It's more in the blue part of the spectrum. And so this is what happens, and you all kind of know this intuitively, when your eyes are exposed to a really bright source of light, right, you have a hard time seeing, and that's because your pupils, they automatically, you know, contract to minimize the amount of light that's coming in. Well, that also minimizes the light coming in from the dim areas. And so this is what you might imagine that you're a public safety officer cruising the streets of New Shore trying to see if there's any bad guys around. And he goes by this yard and he looks in and he can't really see what's going on, but if he could only shield that light, he'd see that there's a bad guy standing in the doorway. Right? This is why, folks, you all have lampshades on your lamps in your home. You're not staring at the bare bulbs, you use the lampshades to get rid of the glare from those bulbs. Same thing at night. Glare is a really big problem. The environmental consequences are becoming more and more problematic. Kim probably knows this. There is something called the insect apocalypse. I didn't make that up. It's a real thing. In the last 50 years, we have lost 75% of all insects worldwide. It's a staggering realization. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. loss of habitat, pesticides, but light pollution is part of the problem. And so it's estimated that in a light polluted setting, roughly 1/3 of the insects attracted to a stationary light will die by morning from exhaustion or predation, right? They get eaten by a bat, maybe, from flying around. I can tell that some of you are old enough to remember when there was a porch light that was a yellow light bulb, right? And there's a reason for that, because the bugs are not attracted to yellow light, they're attracted to blue light. You're going to hear me say this over and over again. At night, blue light, blue wavelengths of light are public enemy number one. And this is one of the reasons why. And so, there are human consequences to this as well. I suspect you've all heard of melatonin. Melatonin is a very interesting compound. It's involved in a lot of studies involving overall human health. And in particular, more recently, how the body responds to cancer. Now, your body makes melatonin at night, not during the daytime. This is a graph that shows how much melatonin is in your bloodstream at any given time. So during the daytime, not very much. At nighttime, when it's dark, you don't have to be asleep. It just has to be dark. Your body produces melatonin. About 20 years ago, someone discovered that there is a sensor in the eye having nothing to do with vision. It's essentially an on-off switch that's wired to the pineal gland in your brain, which is where melatonin is made. And if it's dark enough, the switch says, hey, make melatonin. And so it goes. But if you disrupt that in the middle of the night, if you get up and you raid the fridge or you go to the bathroom and switch on